Welcome back to the Paranormal Inc. Ohio podcast. I'm Ed, and tonight we're opening the lid on one of the most infamous cursed objects in modern paranormal history, the Dybbuk Box. Now, before we begin, I have to say this. The stories you're about to hear are presented as they are reported. Some people believe every word, others think it's all coincidence, clever storytelling, or the power of suggestion. You can decide for yourself by the end of this episode. So dim the lights, put on your headphones, and ask yourself one question. Would you ever open a box that everyone says should remain sealed forever? This is a part one of a part two-night event. What is a Dybbuk? The word Dybbuk comes from Jewish folklore. A Dybbuk is said to be the restless spirit of a dead person who cannot move on. Instead, it clings to the living, sometimes possessing them or attaching itself to an object. Traditional Jewish teachings describe Dybbuks as spirits, burdened by terrible sins or unfinished business. Rabbis throughout history have written about exorcisms intended to drive these spirits away. Whether you believe these stories literally or symbolically, the idea has existed for hundreds of years. But one particular wooden wine cabinet would bring the legend into the modern world. The story begins in Portland, Oregon in 2001. A man named Kevin Mannis, an antique dealer, attended an estate sale after an elderly Holocaust survivor had died. Her granddaughter reportedly warned him not to buy one particular item, an old wooden wine cabinet. She claimed her grandmother had always insisted it remain closed. She supposedly said it has a Dybbuk inside. Kevin laughed it off. He bought the cabinet anyway. According to his account, that's when everything changed. Kevin took the wine cabinet to his antique shop. He placed it in the basement. Later that night, after leaving for the day, an employee called him in a panic. The lights had gone out. The security gates wouldn't open, and she claimed something was moving around downstairs. By the time Kevin arrived, the basement supposedly smelled strongly of cat urine, a smell many paranormal investigators later reported around the cabinet. Soon after bringing the cabinet home, Kevin claimed he began suffering terrifying nightmares. He dreamed of an old woman attacking him. The dream was so vivid he woke up bruised. Then something stranger happened. His mother stayed at his house. While he was away, she opened the cabinet. As a birthday surprise, inside she found a lock of hair, another lock of hair tied with some string, a dried rosebud, one wheat penny, and a wine goblet, and a small granite statue with the word Shalom in Hebrew chiseled in it. Minutes later, she reportedly suffered a massive stroke. She survived, but permanently lost the ability to speak. The only thing she could write afterward was, "No gift." Kevin became convinced the cabinet was cursed. Passing the curse along, he sold it. The new owner returned it. Then another owner claimed terrifying nightmares. Another owner reported unexplained illness. Every person who allegedly possessed the cabinet claimed something terrible followed them. Nightmares, shadow figures, foul odors, sudden health problems, depression, extreme anxiety. Many claimed they eventually became so frightened they gave it away. Finally, Kevin listed the cabinet on eBay. His listing was unlike anything the website had ever seen. He warned buyers, do not purchase this if you value your life. He described every frightening experience. Thousands of people read the listing. It quickly spread across the internet. The single auction transformed the Dybbuk Box into one of the world's most famous haunted objects. Eventually, the cabinet was purchased by museum curator Jason Haxton. Unlike previous owners, Jason carefully documented everything. He later wrote a book describing his experiences. According to him, electrical equipment malfunctioned, lights failed, visitors reported overwhelming dread, some claimed to smell jasmine flowers, others smelled cat urine. Jason also reported suffering serious health problems while owning the cabinet. Eventually, he sought help from religious leaders. The cabinet was reportedly sealed once again. The story gained another chapter when paranormal investigator Zach Bagans acquired the Dybbuk Box. It became one of the featured artifacts inside his haunted museum in Las Vegas. Visitors have claimed sudden headaches, nausea, panic attacks, unexplained scratches. Some have reportedly fainted after standing near the cabinet. Museum employees have also described hearing whispers, seeing shadows, and feeling watched. Because of its reputation, many visitors refuse to enter the room containing the box. Others have immediately, after seeing it, whether these experiences are paranormal or psychological remains hotly debated. The Dybbuk Box has inspired countless reports. One visitor claimed he mocked the box while touring the museum. At night, he reportedly experienced sleep paralysis. He awoke unable to move. Standing beside his bed, he claimed a dark figure watched him. The experience repeated itself several nights in a row, only after apologizing. Whether or privately, did the experiences stop. Another woman claims she developed terrifying nightmares after taking a selfie near the cabinet. In every dream, the same old woman appeared. She never spoke, she simply stared. The dreams reportedly continued for weeks. A paranormal investigator claimed his camera batteries drained within minutes while filming near the box. Fresh batteries, completely dead. Electronic voice recorders allegedly shut off repeatedly. Whether coincidence or not, he refused to investigate the cabinet again. Another report came from a museum visitor who said he laughed during the tour. Moments later, he experienced severe dizziness. His nose began bleeding unexpectedly. Medical staff found no obvious explanation. He recovered, but refused to discuss the experience afterward. Of course, not everyone believes the Dybbuk Box is haunted. Many researchers point out there is no historical evidence the original Holocaust survivor ever truly believed a demon lived inside the cabinet. Some historians argue the story itself may have grown over time. Others believe fear creates expectation. When people expect something terrifying, every strange coincidence suddenly feels supernatural. Nightmares, electrical problems, illness, these things happen in everyday life. But when connected to a supposedly cursed object, they seem far more sinister. Whether haunted or not, the Dybbuk Box demonstrates something fascinating. Stories have power. Fear has power. Expectation has power. And once an object gains a reputation, every new owner adds another chapter. Some experiences may be genuine, others may be coincidence. Others may simply be impossible to explain. Imagine someone placed that old wooden cabinet in front of you right now. No money involved, no cameras, no audience. Just one simple decision. Would you open it? Or would you walk away? Because whether demons exist or not, every culture on earth has stories warning us that some doors should never be opened. And maybe, just maybe, there's a reason those stories have survived for centuries. I know I said this was going to be a two-part, two-night event, and I want to keep going. Now, I get to talking about the Dybbuk Box, man. I could talk forever about the Dybbuk Box. Whether it be the main Dybbuk Box or whether it be other stories that we hear about Dybbuk Boxes. I'm very fascinated in it. I'm fascinated in the Dybbuk itself, in the Jewish folklore that goes behind it, the boxes themselves and how they're sealed, and how every Dybbuk Box adaptation, whether it be a book or a TV show or a movie, absolutely terrifies me because of the fact that I think the Dybbuk Box is very real. I think the Dybbuk is very real. I think it's in these boxes. I think we shouldn't mess with them. But would I open a Dybbuk Box? Of course I would. I'm a paranormal investigator. I'm supposed to want to do that. Am I scared or afraid to open a box? Of course I am. You would have to be insane not to be afraid of it. Even if you're a skeptic and you don't believe in it, you would have to be insane to not think that maybe, just maybe, something could happen. Because all these stories and all these things that have been wrote about the Dybbuk Box and the Dybbuk itself, there has to be truth in there somewhere. I have seen evil. I've seen the evil in man. I've seen all that. And evil is very real. I've also seen good, and good in man. And good is very real. But evil is super real, and all it wants to do is destroy us. So do I think that it could be put in a box and trapped? Yes. Do I think if someone gets a hold of it and opens it, you're releasing that entity back into the world? Yes, I do. So in the second part, I'm going to go ahead and do the second part now. I'm going to go ahead and tell you some more encounters that the box has had. So in the first part, we talked about the legend of the Dybbuk Box and how an old wooden wine cabinet became one of the most talked about allegedly haunted objects in the world. But now we're going to dive even deeper. We'll explore the power that the people who claim to have encountered with the box, and what paranormal investigators have reported, what Jewish folklore actually says about Dybbuks, and why this story continues to terrify people decades after it. So turn down the lights, because this is where the legend gets even darker. Across many cultures, there are stories of spirits becoming attached to physical objects. Ancient dolls, mirrors, jewelry, paintings, even pieces of furniture. I myself own a collection of haunted materials. I have haunted dolls. I have a haunted lunchbox. It was old lunchbox, way back in Victorian days. And these dolls, the oldest doll I have was made in 1910. And when I got them, I acquired them from an oddity shop. I know the owner knows me. She acquired them from some lady's family that had passed away. And the family had just said, we've had enough of these dolls. We get it when mom was alive. But their heads would move. You would hear somebody else talking to mom when nobody else was in the room. And with their heads moving, mom could not get out of the bed. So they said, I don't know how mom was turning the heads, because she couldn't move. They eventually gave the dolls to a Goodwill, and they were going to sell them. And the Goodwill called them the next day and said, you need to come get these, because weird things have happened in the store. The lights flicker on and off. Things are getting thrown at customers. The security guard at night is just terrified. He left, and you need to come get these. So they brought it back. And that's when they gave them to the oddity store. And she contacted me and said, hey, I've got something. You really want to come look at it? So I went, and I don't know what it was. I immediately fell in love with these. I'll do their own podcast episode. And I'll tell you all about it, all about the lady who had passed away, the family, and the history behind the dolls and all that. But I own haunted objects because I believe spirits can attach themselves to things. And every one of these dolls and haunted objects that I have their own case. Like, there's their own story behind it and everything. So I will do an episode of that on my dolls. It'll be called the Blankenship Dolls. You should check it out. It'll be a really good episode. If you go to paranormalincohio.com, you can actually see where I've done some investigations with the dolls themselves. I also own a haunted voodoo doll. The list goes on and on. If you go check that out, you can check some of those investigations out. But now I'm going to get back to the Dybbuk Box. I feel like I've kind of went off trail here. So some paranormal researchers believe intense emotional trauma or violent death can somehow leave an imprint behind. Others believe spirits deliberately choose an object as a place to remain. Skeptics argue that these stories grow because people begin looking for strange events once they believe an object is cursed. Whatever the explanation, the Dybbuk Box became the modern symbol of the haunted object. Since the cabinet went on display, hundreds of visitors have shared stories online. One man claimed that as he approached the exhibit, he suddenly felt pressure on his chest, making it difficult to breathe. When he stepped away, the feeling disappeared almost instantly. Another visitor said she became dizzy and nauseous while standing in front of the box. She had to leave the room before completing the tour. Several people have claimed to experience intense headaches that begin only after entering. The exhibit and vanished shortly after leaving. None of these reports prove anything paranormal, but they continue to fuel the legend. One of the most common claims involves nightmares. Visitors have described dreaming about an elderly woman with dark eyes staring silently from the corner of her room. Others report dreams of shadowy figures standing beside their beds. Some say they repeatedly dreamed of opening a wooden box, only to wake up in a cold sweat moments after before seeing what was inside. Could these dreams simply be the result of hearing a frightening story before bed? Psychologists say that's entirely possible. Believers say something else. Maybe reaching out. Paranormal investigators who have worked around reportedly haunted objects often describe unusual equipment failures. Some claim cameras shut down unexpectedly, fresh batteries drain in minutes, audio recorders stop without warning, flashlights flicker, cell phones freeze or reboot. It's important to note that electronic malfunctions happen for many ordinary reasons. Still, when several devices fail at the same location, investigators naturally begin asking questions. Whether those questions have supernatural answers remains unknown. Now, I'm going to go off track again. I believe that spirits can manipulate electronics. I believe they drain electronics to manifest themselves. It has happened to me on 1,000 occasions with my dolls. I have everything completely juiced up, ready to go, charged, new batteries, and they all just die. Voice recorders will fail. Or they'll say they're working, and then when I go to review it, it is a muffled glitch sound. It's insane. So we'll go back to this now. Sorry, I keep jumping off. I write this stuff down, guys. I do my research. I watch things, I read things, and I write all these notes down, and then I turn around and I write them into what I'm going to say during the podcast. Things I think that are important, things I think that are a part of the main subject itself. So when you hear me stuttering, it's because I can't read my own handwriting. I swear I have chicken scratches. But beyond that, I think these are all interesting, and then I just want to explain why you hear me stuttering around. So I'm going to go back to this. A surprisingly consistent detail in many stories is an unusual odor. Some people describe the scent of cat urine. Others report the smell of jasmine flowers. Still others mention sulfur or something burning. No one has identified a confirmed source for these reported smells, yet they appear again and again and again and again in stories surrounding the Dybbuk Box. In Jewish folklore, a Dybbuk is not simply a ghost. It is believed to be the wandering soul of someone unable to find peace. According to traditional stories, these spirits sometimes attempt to possess the living. Historical accounts describe rabbis performing prayers and rituals intended to drive these spirits away. Modern Jewish scholars often point out that these stories belong to folklore and religious tradition, not necessarily documented historical events. Even so, the legend remains one of the most enduring supernatural beliefs in Jewish culture. Is the original story true? Over the years, researchers have examined the famous story surrounding the Dybbuk Box. Some have suggested that portions of the tale may have been exaggerated as it spread across the internet. Others note that the original owner consistently maintained his account. Without independent evidence, it's impossible to know exactly what happened. That's part of what keeps the mystery alive. No one conclusively proved the box is haunted, but no one has conclusively explained every reported experience either. Why are we drawn to cursed objects? There's something deeply unsettling about the idea that evil could be trapped inside something ordinary: a wooden cabinet, a doll, a painting, an old mirror. Objects like these remind us that danger doesn't always look frightening. Sometimes it sits quietly on a shelf, waiting. Whether that's reality or simply our imagination is a question every listener must answer for themselves. My final thoughts on the Dybbuk Box is the Dybbuk Box has become more than an allegedly haunted cabinet. It's become a modern legend. Its story has inspired books, documentaries, television shows, paranormal investigations, and endless debates between believers and skeptics. Maybe it's just an old wine cabinet, wrapped in a powerful story. Maybe fear causes people to notice ordinary events in extraordinary ways. Or maybe some mysteries refuse to stay locked away. If someone offered you the Dybbuk Box tonight, would you take it home? Would you unlock the doors? Would you look inside? Or would you leave it exactly where it is, closed? Thank you for listening to Paranormal Inc. Ohio podcast. I'm Ed. And until next time, be careful what you bring into your home, Because sometimes the scariest things don't come looking for you. You invite them in. Thank you, everybody, for coming and checking out tonight's episode. I hope you enjoyed it. I love each and every single one of you. And I will tell another tale, another true thing about the paranormal in the next episode. Thank you, and I hope you guys have a great night. Bye, everyone.